Steve, it's so good to have you here today.
Todd, thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you in person. I know we've communicated a lot, and I've just been excited to meet you and your family. I mean, just great family. And, you know, I look at that, and I'm a family man myself.
Right.
So I can appreciate, you know, especially now, what you guys have been through and how you've held it together.
Well, you know, let's let everyone know exactly who you are and how you and I became acquainted. You have a show that it's on Bravo, which I wasn't aware of because I was unfortunately at my retreat.
I call it I'm going on my sabbatical. That's what I tell everybody.
That's it.
It's the first one I've ever taken in my life. I finally get a break, and everyone else has to stay and roll.
And unfortunately, you have your first break in a shitty situation. But so your show's on Bravo.
Correct.
You're the patriarch.
Correct.
And you have four boys. You have four boys.
Four boys.
You have Stephen, Jesse, Cole,
and Braden.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, folks, I did not watch this show because, again, I didn't have Bravo where I was at. But I did start watching the show when I came home because your showrunner and one of our showrunners, Blaze.
We love Blaze.
We love Blaze. Blaze told me that she was on this show. And so I got a phone call one day and she said, Todd, she says, I have someone that's in a bad situation. And I love the family. I did this show. She said, I'm sure you haven't watched it. It's on Bravo. She tells me about it. She said, would you talk to him and kind of let him know, you know, what the process was that you went through? And I said, absolutely. And so she gave me your number and I called you. And then you and I started talking and then I started watching the show. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And you know, and I do critique shows and watch things and I'm like, I don't know that I'd watch that again, or, you know, because I want to know what can I take from that, learn from that,
right, that
we spill over into our show. And so you have a good show.
Well, thank you.
I love the dynamics of the show.
Thank you.
I love the dynamics of the boys. I hate the dynamics that you're having to go through right now. Because as you know, and as the whole world knows, Julie and I went through the federal system. We were targeted by 2 rogue prosecutors. And I always like to give my rogue prosecutors credit. I like to make sure that I name them. So Tommy Krepp and Annalise Peters were our rogue prosecutors in the state of Georgia. Now, granted, neither one of them are with the U.S. Attorney's Office anymore. Tommy Krepp wanted to use our name to catapult him into a position in a large firm, just like Annalise Peters did. That didn't work out well for them, Steve. You know, Tommy is, to the last of my understanding, is pushing papers in a little corner office for the FDIC. So he spent his whole career, you know, longing to be in that ivory tower. And he wanted to use our family to try to tear us down and use us as a stepping stone to elevate him because he couldn't get there any other way because he was just a lackluster attorney anyway. And then you had someone like Annalise Peters who just wasn't, you know, some people say that I say things I shouldn't say, but I mean, I'm noted for that. So I'll just say, you know, Annalise Peters, she should have been a great attorney because she didn't spend much time on her appearance. She wasn't an attractive girl. And, you know, she didn't know what the hell she was doing either. But with that being said, neither one of them are with the U.S. Attorney's Office anymore. What has come out since our conviction and since we were pardoned by President Trump is that we were targeted. The Inspector General has released a report and said that we were targeted, and which probably is going to spill into your story as I want you to tell it, because your situation occurred how long before you came on television?
Well, so it would have, we were filming season 1. We got served, but to predicate that, my son did a show before that, 2 years.
Right.
And we know Stephen, my
right.
oldest, yes,
right.
I should be specific. So he did a show, it was a remake of Joe Millionaire, it was called.
Right.
And they did it 20 years ago on Fox, and they had like 41 million viewers for the season finale.
Right.
You know, on that. So they wanted to preface with that, how to back into it. And they couldn't trick everybody again, the girls that were on the dating.
Right.
So they come out with Joe Millionaire for Richer or Poor. And they had 2 guys. And that's how they did that show. It was like a 20-year reunion that they were doing that on Fox. One was they were trying to hide which one had money, which one didn't, and trick so the girls wouldn't know. Because the first guy was a construction worker,
right,
making $19 an hour. And I mean, I'm a construction worker, so they,
yeah, because we've all had jobs to where because I didn't come from money, so I know what that's like.
Anybody,
right?
Just so that's clear. But so they said he inherited $50 million, which was a big lie. And so the girls, the dating show was, did they love him for him or for the money?
Right.
And so how to bring that back, because all the girls would have known, they had to put 2 guys on there. That's how they didn't know which one was which.
Right.
They come to our farm. And they brought the final 6 girls to the ranch. So at the ranch, the production company met all of us and everything we had going. And they're like, your family is dynamic. They would be a great reality show. We're going to come back and we want to film a reality show, blah, blah, blah. As that progressed, the next year, we had like 4 or 5 production companies reaching out, wanting to do it. And the premise on that was like this Yellowstone was the #1 show in America. So
my favorite show.
Yeah, love it. And so they're like, you guys check, we've interviewed 100 families. You guys check every box, plus boxes we don't even have.
Right.
So you're the perfect family for this. We want to do this show. We ended up, kind of vetting, coming down to Jeff Jenkins Productions, who was Jeff Jenkins produced the Kardashians for 10 years, kind of some other things. So they had a lot of connections. And then, everything was kind of crazy in the economy, right? That year, Silicon Valley Bank had failed. Bank rates were going like this.
Right.
Everybody's throwing the R word around.
Right.
Recession.
Right.
So, when they pitched our trailer and our show to the networks, they had cut back on like 70% on shows that year.
Right.
All the networks had.
Right.
And reality shows were really being cut back.
That's right. 1%. It's only 1%.
1%. And so then we ended up getting in a bidding war. And they had like Discovery, Netflix, so everybody was like, this is crazy, kind of shell shocked.
Right.
But if you look at country and where it's at, everybody's coming back to their roots.
That's right.
Which is good for the country.
That's right.
And Yellowstone was popping, star singers are Beyonce's going country.
Right.
Everything's going country. So it's a timing thing. And I think we hit strike while the iron's hot.
Right.
And so we ended up meeting with the production company, deciding on NBC, Universal, Peacock, because they were saying,
Chrisley knows best.
They were saying that, hey, if it does well, they'll run this show till the wheels fall off.
That's
10
right.
yeof 15
Well, look at
years.
what they've done with Chrisley Knows Best.
You guys have just rock and rolled year after year.
That's right.
But you guys have interesting content. You're got a dynamic it's all the right things that people want to listen to. And so, Netflix, we were kind of like, wow, Netflix, the 900-pound gorilla.
Right.
But they had a new CEO and they were saying they only wanted, he wanted new content every 3 to 4 years. You could be a top 5 show and get axed. That's right. Because they wanted new. He wants to keep it. He wants to keep it fresh. And so that's why that made that decision to go with where we went. So
now when you started your show, but now you pled guilty because you were indicted.
Yes.
And you were indicted for
giving 1 count of a fraudulent statement to crop insurance.
Okay.
You guys know that every family has that one holiday cooking disaster story. And I have told mine many times about the turkey that was overcooked and was basically just the carcass. That's all we had left. And I really could have used Chef IQ back then. Chef IQ is the wireless cooking thermometer that takes all the guesswork out of holiday meals. Your roast, turkey, or prime rib come out perfect every time, turning I think it's done into I know it's perfect. It even tells you when to flip, when to take it off the heat, and how long to let it rest. Basically, it's like having a personal chef right in your kitchen. And it's so important, especially now when things are just so expensive. You don't want to get that turkey or that roast and then it not come out perfect. That's the worst. You have guests at your house. You have just your family. You want everything to be just right. And with Chef IQ, you can sip your cocoa and actually spend time with your family instead of hovering over the oven. And here's the best part. It's the gift gift everyone will love, perfect for seasoned cooks, kitchen rookies, and everyone in between. This season, give yourself and your loved ones the gift of perfectly cooked meals with Chef IQ. And with my promo code Chrisley, you can save 30% and get all your shopping done. Go to chefiq.com, promo code Chrisley. That's chefiq.com. If you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud on the rise called title theft, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document, use a fake notary stamp, and file it with the county. And just like that, on record, they own your home using your ownership. They can take out loans against your equity and even sell your property. And you won't know about it until foreclosure or collection notices show up in the mail. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Chrisley at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does occur, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. So, I love to see the best in people, and I like to think that there's way more good than bad in the world, but this is a real thing. This is going on, and it's literally taking your property right under your nose. Find out why I trust Home Title Lock. Protect yourself like I do. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Chrisley, or use the link below.
Now, but when that happened, did that false statement happen prior to you ever being on television?
So that statement, our show was already filmed. We were on episode 10. It had not aired yet, and they were just starting the investigation. Okay. So, and when that investigator started, he had told my son, I watched all your show, watched all your Instagram.
That's the point I was trying to make.
It was like he stalked him. It's not like he did. And as a matter of fact, one of my attorneys told me, I've never seen anybody want somebody so bad.
It's the way it was with us.
Trophy prosecution at the highest level.
That's right.
And so, he wanted him so bad. And he's like, I don't understand. We would make jokes. We're like, Stephen, did you date his girlfriend at some time? Were they laying in bed and him say, hey, and she say, that's my hall pass? And he's like, oh, really? Well, let me show you my authority.
Right.
I don't know. It was a crazy deal because I'm a proud father as you are.
Right.
But I have great kids, young men now.
Right.
I mean, we had the superintendent of the school district reach out to me and say, in all our years in administration, Stephen and Jesse are the most highly touted kids we've ever had come through the school district. They're so respectful. They're so kind. I mean, all-state quarterback, all-state running back, number one academically, number two, we were the family. Great kids. And I love my kids, but I discipline my kids.
Right. I did
work
too.
ethic means everything to me, and so I don't know. It was just, I've been through so many audits being in business for 33 years. I started Land Telecommunications when I was 21 years old, my first company. And all I knew was work. My dad said, you tell a person's work ethic based on their character based on their work ethic.
That's right.
And so for me, I wanted my kids to work hard and be good to other people.
Right.
And so, you work hard, everyone else is at the bars or sitting on their couch at 5. We're working 70, 80 hours, 7 days a week. Things pay off.
That's right.
And it did. That's what makes America great, right?
Right. So you had a false statement on a crop insurance application.
Yes. Okay. So let me explain how that came down, because that was a crazy ordeal. I've been through so many audits, like I said, IRS, every audit under the sun. I mean, I've had 59 LLCs throughout my tenure of business.
Right.
And I knew once we had the information, I said, okay, they're doing an audit. I really kind of brushed it off because I'm like, they're doing an investigative audit. Great, do it. We'll provide all the information. They'll see that we didn't do anything. It'll go away like the other ones did. And I got a call from my attorney in October. The election was November 5th for President Trump. And this last DOJ, and I'll dive into that in a minute. As you probably know where I'll go with
Right.
that. But they literally came to me and he called me up, said, Steve, I need to meet with you. And it was a Tuesday. I said, okay, can we meet Thursday at whatever? Looked at my schedule. He's like, oh no, we got to meet today. Okay. I canceled my afternoon meetings, drove down to meet with my attorney. We basically got what was a BAFO. That's what it was. Best and final offer
Right.
from my prosecutor,
Right.
the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Right.
You have 48 hours,
To
2 days.
to accept this.
Here's what's going to happen. You, as an individual, Steve A. McBee, are going to, if you plea out to one count of giving a fraudulent statement to crop insurance, then we will accept that plea. If you don't do that, we're going to charge your son, all the companies, everything else with 27 federal indictments by Thursday. So
Now, see, I went through that saying something similar because Tommy Krepp, when I would not accept that I had done anything that was wrong, he said that he was going after my wife. If he does not come in and sit down with us and accept responsibility for some of these counts, we're going after his wife, we're going after Chase, we're going after Savannah. We may even go after his mother. And I'm wording it exactly the way he said it. We may even go after his mother. And I remember Bruce Morris, one of our attorneys, calling me and telling me this. And I said, what'd you say? He said, I laughed and said, you go ahead and go after Nanny Faye. Let's see how well that works for you. And so we had to hire attorneys for the kids because they were going to have to testify to the grand jury, Chase and Savannah. So we had to get an attorney. They tried to, our attorneys were going to represent them. The prosecutor said, absolutely not. They must have their own attorneys, trying to, to force us to spend more money. So we hired them their own attorneys. And I remember that judge, pushing back on the prosecutor at that time, not the same judge that we had at trial. But I remember that judge saying, no, we're not doing this. They're fine. They understand that if this goes to trial, that if there's anything adversarial, they'll have to have their own attorneys. And so I remember them having to go testify in front of the grand jury. And this Annalise Peters she misled the grand jury, and Savannah called her out. And she says, no, ma'am, read the rest of the email where my dad is saying that if you take this payment, you will be responsible for 38% tax on it. So understand that this number is less 38% for your taxes. See, she left that out because she wanted to make it that this was a tax case. So I know that what you're saying is true by the way they handled that, because they tried to do that with us. And, I remember thinking, I was in shock that this had actually happened, because I had a CEO that had embezzled about $6 million, 5.7 or something like that. And we'd been fighting with him since 2012 when we found out about this. And we reported it. Our attorneys reported it to the district attorney's office there in Atlanta, Paul Howard, who said they didn't have the resources for a case like this, that this was a lot of money involved, the company was a big company, that this was a financial divorce between two partners. And we filed a federal lawsuit against him. And the Tommy Krepp, the prosecutor the U.S. attorney at that time, looked at the case and said, there's nothing here. What we do know is that the business partner has embezzled millions of dollars from this family. So that's going to be our witness to go in and to go against the Chrisleys? No. So they did away with it in 2014. Wow. We come on television and the show takes off and it becomes a huge hit. And Tommy Krepp, needing to get out of that U.S. attorney's office to try to get into a law firm, focused on us. He started going through dead files, trying to find something that had a high profile to it. And this to show you, they knew that he had done things that were unethical. And listen, there were other cases that were filed in the Fulton County federal court that Tommy Krepp had lied and misled the courts on other cases, and had been told by attorneys, if you ever do that, not attorneys but judges, you better not ever let this happen again. But he kept doing it, and with us, and I kept looking at all this stuff when my attorneys would bring it to me, and I said, why is this guy still able to practice? If a federal judge knows that he misled him, why wouldn't they take his license? And, but unfortunately, I now understand the legal system. A federal judge is an attorney. Right. And a federal judge becomes a federal judge after being an attorney and after being appointed to that position. Well, now the people that he buddied with and hung out at the bars with and played golf with are now coming in front of him. So if you got a good relationship with that judge is going to rule in the way that your friendship is.
Absolutely.
And so when I started looking at your case and researching it, it was so reminiscent of a U.S. attorney that was looking for some notoriety, because you understand that right now there's 1.4 million cases of PPP fraud, that the loans that
for sure.
that was put out, that the government put out with no regulation, no oversight, nothing. And then you wonder why fraud happened.
The guys at True Classic started with a simple mission to bring premium, comfortable clothing to the masses, because looking and feeling great shouldn't come with a designer price tag. And clearly people agree. They've sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers, earning 200,000 plus 5-star reviews along the way. But True Classic isn't just about great fabrics or fit. It's about confidence, about helping the people you love show up every day feeling comfortable, pulled together, and confident. That's why I love True Classic for holiday gifting. Their clothes look amazing, feel even better, and now they're available for the whole family. So whether you're shopping for your partner, your dad, your brother, or even yourself, you can find something everyone will actually want to wear. Their clothes fit where they should, feel incredible, and don't break the bank. You get that polished, tailored look without sacrificing comfort or blowing your holiday budget. I originally bought True Classic for Grayson. When I did this, he needed new things to take back to school, and True Classic was just the perfect fit for him. They're easy, they're comfortable, they look great, and they don't cost a fortune. But now they've launched their women's line. I can finally shop for myself too. Their sweat sets are unbelievably comfortable, but my favorite piece is the tank top. It's so easy to dress up or down no matter the day. So skip the stress and the overpriced designer stuff. Give comfort, give confidence, give True Classic. You can find them at Amazon, Target, Costco, and Sam's Club, or head to trueclassic.com/Chrisley to shop the perfect gifts for everyone on your list. Have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site that I order from all the time, where you can get the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the U.S., and they'll ship it anywhere across the country. It's perfect for hosting loved ones and a truly magical, unforgettable gift, making this holiday season one they'll talk about for years. Goldbelly can ship you show-stopping meals from the country's best steakhouses, or the iconic Joe's Stone Crab in Miami, and the famous desserts like the Christmas pie cakin' or Martha Stewart's incredible cake sent right to your door anywhere in the country. The holidays are also the perfect time to gift legendary flavors. I absolutely love Junior's Cheesecake from New York City. You guys know that I have talked about Goldbelly many times, from the bagel bar to lobster rolls. And now this holiday season, I know that I'm going to have even more people than I normally do. So I am super excited. I have ordered Ina Garten's coconut cake, and I'm going to be having the red velvet cheesecake from Junior's, and Goldbelly is the perfect addition for those added things that I just want to make it special for my guest. So if you're looking for that perfect gift for everyone on your list, or want to impress your friends and family with an unforgettable meal and make hosting a breeze this holiday season, go to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code Confessions. That's goldbelly.com, code Confessions, for 20% off your first order.
But 1.4 cases that are sitting around the country waiting to be prosecuted. 1.4 million. And yet they pick you.
And the funny thing is, like, I hear, you see the comments, and I don't care about. I mean, I'll never.
I love a good hater. I love a good hater.
Have at it. They're so incompetent. It just blows my mind how their lack of understanding or knowledge. But here's the thing with our case. It's so absurd when you know just the smallest detail. If you read, they audited 3 years. We were like one of the largest farmers in the state of Missouri. Like in 2020, which was COVID, we didn't get our H-2A workers. We farmed 3 different states: Missouri, Iowa, and Arkansas. 44,000 acres. That's like almost 70 square miles across like 923 fields.
Right.
But they audited all 3 years, 2018, 19, and 20.
Right.
And they found a clerical issue on one half field. I call it a half mistake. It was the half mistake. So in 2020, they found one field that we were there May 20th, and we planted a little bit over half of that field.
Right.
And then we finished that field like June 18th. Well, the cutoff for reporting was like June 10th or 11th. Every county varies.
Right.
And they literally said our entire insurance claim was null and void for those years. Like, so when you look at that and you imagine a clerical issue that I didn't run the tractor, I didn't plant. I mean, I have 75 employees, across everything. And I always, I compare it to this, one of the analogies I use, and they do pre-harvest. If you farm over 10,000 acres, the government themselves, they audit every field every year for us.
Right.
So I knew they were there. We know they're there.
That's their job.
We're
That's
a
what you're
target.
doing. Right.
Yeah. They do post-planting audits to see your stand count. Then they do pre-harvest and post-harvest audits. They know the grain we raise.
Right.
And this was just a planting date. If you think about how minor that is. But it'd be like you buy an $800,000 house and you have $400,000 in contents in March. And then in June, you have lightning strikes your house, whatever, you have a fire. The insurance adjuster comes out. Your house is burnt to the ground. You lost your house and all your contents. He writes you a check for 1.2, 800 for the structure, 400 for the contents. And then 6 years later, they come back and say, hey, on your itemized list, you had a bicycle, and we seen on Facebook Marketplace, one of your kids put the bicycle up for sale. So your whole insurance claim's null and void.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know how. It's so minor of a mistake and a clerical issue that I didn't make. My son didn't make it. My son didn't do nothing but like spreadsheets in the office, And for them to like say your entire claim is null and void, it's mind-numbing. I do a lot of real estate transactions, as you do.
Right.
And I tell everybody, okay, so just at the farm, I have over 400 employees. Just at the farm, we had 75. Okay, so if you go into a local bank branch and there's 10 employees there, right? So you let me audit. So that would be 7 banks have 10 employees. Let me audit 3 years of any bank on anybody that owns a business out there.
Right.
Anybody that owns a business. Let me come audit 3 years across 75 employees. Every real estate transaction I do, Todd, there's a mistake. Oh, you signed an errors and omission form, whatever. There's a wrong legal, wrong insurance.
Or this wasn't dated or whatever.
One of it, the dates are wrong.
Right.
It's not fraud.
Right.
There's no fraud. It's a human error, clerical. So here they make this whole Steve McBee may get 30 years in prison for a Class B felony.
Right.
$7 million because that's all 3 years of crop insurance across 44.
They did the same thing with us. It was $36 million.
Shock and awe.
Right. Shock and awe. That's exactly right. And because our name sells clicks.
Clickbait.
And so it was $36 million. Then it went down to $17 million. Then in the end, it went down to $4 million. And that's what people that's not out in the press, that the prosecutor started this case against us with $36 million. Then as there's about 70% through the case, it goes to $17 million. Then it goes from that to $4.5 million. Well, it was never $4.5 million. No one ever lost. There was no money lost. And so, I remember at the sentencing that Annalise Peters, she said, Your Honor, we're not saying that Mr. Chrisley caused the real estate crash of 2008. We know he did not do that. We know that he did not cause banks to collapse. We're not saying that. We're just saying that on this loan right here, there was a document submitted, whether it was submitted by him or submitted by his CFO. It doesn't matter because Mr. Chrisley owned the company. That's exactly what they said. And they said, if Mr. Chrisley did not know, he should have known. Now, that's important for everyone that's watching this show right now. You can go to prison because a prosecutor says you should have known. You should have known. So what does that do in our country when you hire someone that you place all your trust in? If I need to know all of this stuff, then should I be paying someone $1.5 million a year to do it? Hell, I should just keep that money in my pocket and do it myself.
How would you ever employ anybody, though, Todd?
Exactly.
I mean, we have to employ people. They want the economy to go.
Exactly.
And so here's what's even crazier on a farm. We use a lot of seasonal help, H-2A workers.
Right.
They don't even know. I mean, they come over, they're legal, everything's done right, all the paperwork, everything's processed. They come over here, they don't even know the names of fields. They're saying this or that. I mean, it's chaos trying to figure that out. Keep in mind, 2020 was COVID. We didn't even get I was hiring every laid off oil worker from Oklahoma just because we didn't get our H-2A workers because of COVID. I mean, it's so mind numbing, the fact of what they can say that the judge said it to me too. He's like, well, you've had other successful businesses, Mr. McBee. Now you want to claim that you didn't know what, you don't. No, I can't know what has happened across 400 employees.
Right.
I mean, that's absurd. Nobody that's ever owned a company, if you've had 4 employees are humans. Humans do as they choose.
Well, wonder if that judge knows what his clerk's doing when that clerk leaves that courtroom.
Well, it was funny because the judge made a mistake on my paperwork. Is that a federal offense?
Should he go to prison?
My point exactly. He put 41 months, which I think is what he was going to give me until he heard my speech. And then so they made a mistake and it was printing papers. I was getting 41 months because he had to go back and correct it.
But now you ended up now keep in mind, the press put out there you were facing 30 years.
30 years.
And you ended up getting what?
24 months.
24 months, folks. Shock and awe.
Yeah.
Shock and awe. 30 years goes to 24 months. So either you're a shitty prosecutor and you can't do your job, or you lied when you put it out there and said it was 30 years.
Yes. Oh, it was 100%. They had it all pre-printed. I didn't walk out of the building and the news articles were everywhere. And it's funny because on that decision, so going back to when my attorney and I were sitting there, we had the 48 hours to make the decision. Like, we're going to charge 27 federal indictments. We're going to eat your grandkids or you plea out. Like, we just want a plea to put your name in the paper. So we sat there for 6 hours going back and forth. And I was like, do I tell all? I have 30 different banking relationships I've had for 30 years.
Right.
Do I go in there and tell the banks I plead to one count of a fraudulent statement?
Which one of y'all gets to be on the hook for?
Or do I say, hey, don't worry about the 27 federal indictments. It's going to take 3 or 4 years, but I'm going to beat all this.
Right.
And then the other was getting off one of my, one of our team people, our keen people that had signed the DocuSign that had nothing to do with, all he did is put the information into a spreadsheet.
Right.
Didn't run the tractors, didn't plant, didn't do nothing, but take the information someone else gave him. See, that's how companies work, as you know, Todd. Some employees do this job, some do that job, some team members, and then they did that information and someone sitting at an office enters it. They don't know. All they know is what they got told.
Right.
Oh, we're going to prosecute them, which happens to be my son.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, get my son off of this, get all my other people off of it, get all the companies, because at the end of the day, the buck stopped with me.
That's right.
And I take that accountability and responsibility. But I have 59 LLCs across the board.
Right.
So we ended up at the end of that 6-hour meeting agreeing that I would plea out to giving one count of a fraudulent statement.
Right.
Not that we committed fraud,
but
because
you gave a fraudulent statement. You gave a misleading statement.
Because I own the companies.
Right.
Essentially, is what it was, or I managed the companies. I didn't even own them. They were in trust and whatever, but I definitely, make the decisions.
Right.
So I said, no one else is owning this but me. I ultimately make all that. And that is, I do take that responsibility. That's my team. So But it's just so crazy. It was based on a clerical issue. And then you get there, and and I try to put myself in other people's shoes. The judge has a job to do, So was he going to be fair with me? I knew going in he was an Obama-appointed judge, and that. Like everybody told me, I got so tired of
my judge was an Obama-appointed judge, and she couldn't even wear shoes into the courtroom. That's how ratchet she was.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so they come in there, and everyone's like, "You should not know me. You should not be here." And I did have to hire separate attorneys for Stephen and I,
right?
Because
conflict.
Conflict. They made me so I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and
it's like throwing it out the window.
Some of them did nothing.
That's right.
My attorney was phenomenal, but the rest of them were, I thought, a joke. And, I had to run the meetings which you should be active. My biggest saying in life is be active in your own rescue.
That's it.
No one's coming to save you.
That's it.
You better get up and get to work.
Amen.
But so we looked at all that, and I was like, okay, nobody's responsible. This was a clerical issue, and they're not letting up on it. I was so confident when we turned in all the 3 ring binders of emails, information, they would be done. We offered them 23 witnesses on the grain, and they didn't interview one. They wouldn't go interview them.
So I have talked about Hexclad before because I actually love their cookware set. It makes the perfect eggs, and I use mine all the time. I actually talked about I fried pork chops in my big frying pan. Amazing. They came out perfect. They didn't brown too much, too little, and the cleanup was spot on. And nothing is better after you've cooked a meal than to have an easy cleanup. Holiday season's here, and let's be real, the kitchen's where it all goes down. Big roast, game day feast, endless sides, and all these holiday desserts. If your current pans panic at high heat or burn the gravy, it's time for an upgrade. Enter Hexclad, the cookware that's as serious about performance as you are about carving that holiday turkey. Those pans give the perfect sear, crazy durability, and easy cleanup without the babysitting. Stainless steel strength, toxin-free, non-stick convenience, and yeah, they look good on the stovetop when the whole crew is over. Hexclad 6-piece and 12-piece sets are the ultimate gift for yourself or for the home chef in your life. Whether you're starting fresh or going big, these bundles cover every dish, every craving, and every holiday spread. Plus, every Hexclad product comes with a lifetime warranty, so you're not buying cookware, you're setting someone up for years of meals, memories, and celebrations. Hexclad's 6-piece set is the perfect starter bundle for any kitchen. It includes 3 of their most popular pans with matching lids, giving everything you need to handle daily cooking with ease. From breakfast to dinner, these pans deliver pro-level performance, effortless cleaning, and durability that last a lifetime. This season, don't just shop for gifts. Give the upgrade every kitchen deserves. Visit hexclad.com and cook like a pro all holiday long. Treat yourself or give the gift of cookware that delivers for every meal, every gathering, every season. That's hexclad.com. Support the show and let them know we sent you.
My former CEO who testified at my trial against me, he was interviewed by the FBI 27 times. 19 times he lied to the FBI. And we were able to produce documents showing like depositions he had when we were suing him, where he had given a statement that contradicted what he was telling the FBI. Statements he had given to other individuals in writing and emails and whatever. We were able to show he had lied. And he had lied to them so many times that they kept bringing him back and allowing him to clean it up. That's how bad they wanted us. Tommy Krepp allowed him to come in and let them
Nobody knew his name. Who was he?
That's it.
He's not clickbait.
That's it.
I mean, I'm on the front of I can't open Instagram without my picture on there.
You just hope that it's a good picture. That's all you hope for.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, at least you're not being accused of sucking dick. So, you're okay on that one.
I'm good.
I mean, before I can get out of bed, I've had at least 10 or 12. But at the end of the day, because there are some good judges, because I remember the magistrate judge in ours, Judge Anine, who was such an educated man. And he went through, and he's the judge for the federal judge. So he does all the legwork to get it ready to go to trial. And I remember him saying, something's not right. And he said, and I'm not going to allow this evidence, this information that you're trying to bring into court. No, it's all fruit of the poisonous tree. It's not coming in. He throws it out. Our attorneys call us and say, the judge just gutted the federal government's case. They're taking this information that they're trying to use against you, and he just tossed it. We go in front of the judge, the federal judge, and she said, yeah, well, I'm not going to go along with what he says. I'm going to let it come in. Had that right there not happened, it would have been done. But the information they allowed to come in was cut and paste documents that Mark Braddock had done.
Wow.
That I should have known about. We were accused of tax evasion. Only at the end of the trial, we were never sentenced on taxes because there was no money owed. And to make it even worse, we were sitting in prison when a refund was sent to Savannah from the IRS for me and Julie. That's the country that we lived in.
Oh, wow.
And you would think that with you being, this happening under the Biden administration, that as a farmer, you would have been left alone because the floodgates were opened. All the illegal immigrants were coming in. They needed a job. So Biden wanted that to happen. So you could have been an employer for that.
I didn't hire illegals. I hired legal H-2A.
Right, but he would have wanted you to do that.
And the funny thing is, with that, like I was saying earlier, I had everybody telling me, you should not be here. One of the attorneys was a prosecutor for 15 years, then was on the private side 16. He's like, you should not know me. You should not be here.
Our attorney said the same thing.
Anybody on either side of the table, no one deserves a full pardon like you do. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're the perfect hit for this administration. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do. He's like, successful, Caucasian, conservative, male. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, and when Martha Stewart, I watch that, I keep up with local news all the time.
I just love, because we love Martha, we know Martha. I love the fact that Comey is the one who did all this shit to her, and now his ass has been indicted.
I love it. I love it too, because
you got to love it when the rabbit's got the gun.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I was saying, with Martha, she never, you hear that and you're like, oh, wow, I wonder. They're definitely trophy prosecution going after her. But until your life, you don't realize until you're
affected by it.
Yeah, because, everyone, and I hate to say it, because there's a lot of good people in our government.
Yes.
But there's a lot of bad people, too.
Absolutely.
And you think that, like I said, you think it's black and white. And here's the thing that shocked me, I think, to my core, is with the Department of Justice, I was like, not only do they don't care about the truth, they don't want the truth.
They don't want the truth.
They want what fits their.
That's right. They want to win.
They want to win.
That's all they want. And they don't care what families they destroy or how they go about it. And I try to always say that, yes, I'm a registered Republican, but I am a fiscally conservative, socially liberal Republican. I don't care what you're doing in your bedroom. That's your business. I care about if what you're doing in your bedroom, you're trying to force it on me, or you're trying to force it on my children. I care about if we're being wasteful with our government funds. Those are the things that I care about. I don't want for anyone to be mistreated. I don't want for people to be harmed. I don't want children pulled out of their homes in the middle of the night because their mothers or their fathers have made a mistake and come into this country illegally, and now the child has to suffer. I don't want to see that, because my heart's not set up that way. But if we're going to be a country of accountability, accountability is not just for the American citizens. It's for every person that comes into this country that is going to live under the laws of this land. And so when I look at the judicial system and the DOJ, I remember my attorneys flying from Atlanta to have a meeting at the DOJ. And I remember one of my attorneys calling me and he said, "This is a trophy hunt." He said, "We just spent 3 hours with the DOJ. This is a trophy hunt." And the individual that we met with worked with one of your prosecutors when Tommy Crett was here in D.C. So it was so incestuous from day one. And I remember, because Tommy Krepp started getting caught up in his lies after the verdict. This is someone who wanted this conviction so bad that he was willing to do anything
to get it.
But yet, when it came to sentencing, he never showed up for sentencing.
Oh, you're kidding.
He never showed up. The biggest case of his career, he never showed up.
Wow.
That's because he knew that we had him about Betty Carter, the IRS agent, that he had suborned perjury by her, that she had lied under oath, that there was no money owed. And we all were baffled until later on we started getting more information. And I'm so grateful for, our FBI director today, Kash Patel. I'm so grateful for, Pam Bondi that's with the DOJ now, and Todd Blanche. And I'm so grateful that the president is seeing through a lot of this. And, we received a letter, I guess it's been probably 2 months ago now, that said that our case has now been referred back to the FBI for investigation regarding allegations of perjury in our case.
Excellent. Against the people committing, yeah.
Right. So, you come in here as prosecutors and you're going to ram the law down someone's throat, and you, by God, you did this and you're going to get this and this and this. But no one's looking into their past.
Well, they have immunity, right? Prosecutorial immunity.
And that's what
they exercise it like they're God.
And that's what I'm working on right now, along with my daughter and other people in D.C. I believe that all prosecutors, that should be stripped from. Because if you go in that courtroom and you lie just to get a conviction, you committed a crime.
It should be reversed on you. You should be held accountable.
That's exactly
for
right.
the truth.
That's
that's what we're supposed to be, the truth, right?
That's right.
And that's what I was saying. There's no money missing. All these people saying they just disallowed. They basically said your entire crop insurance claim, which was legitimate claim through 3 years of those whatever fields failed, is null and void because we found a mistake.
I remember me saying to one of my attorneys, I said, where is this $17 million going to go that we're supposed to pay? Who's getting it? Who is the victim? And he said, they'll use that. He says for training. He says to buy equipment. He says, other police vehicles, things like that. He said it'll go towards that. I said, so this is a fleecing of American wealth is what this is. This is robbing from the rich to give to the poor.
They've literally cost me, Todd, $20 million. I mean,
they cost us about 25.
I had all my MetLife called all my loans because I was a felon. I had 17 million in MetLife loans, 3.5%, 3.63, fixed for 20 or 25 years.
Right.
I mean, there is so much I go on, but I'll tell you, I don't want to forget. If you guys haven't read Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters,
yes,
have you read that?
I have.
I mean, you talk because it gives you a true enlightenment on what's out there.
That's
and
right.
what because we think we live in the United States of America. Our government is the government. Like they have to tell the truth.
That's right. But they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't at all.
And here's the thing. You're going to sit and say, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, both sides are complaining that the DOJ was corrupt. The Democrats are saying DOJ is corrupt today because there's a Republican in the White House. The Republicans say the DOJ was corrupt when there was a Democrat in the House. So if we're all going to agree that the DOJ was corrupt, whether it was with Obama or Biden or the Bushes or Trump, we're all saying that the DOJ was corrupt.
Right.
How is it that if the DOJ, you acknowledge that they're corrupt, why is it so hard for you to believe that their prosecutors are liars?
Well, I know what I've been through. I know what you've been through. And, I just want to work every day, run my companies, spend time with my family and grandkids. And, to think that it's so surreal that I'm really here because I know no crime's been committed. There's no missing money.
Right. Where's the victim? It's a victimless crime.
It is. And then you see, this guy got arrested 100 times. Or had 21 felonies and never spent a day in jail. He's stabbing some elderly 69-year-old at a gas pump. That's one thing I have. The judge when he was lecturing me, he's like, a felon is a felon. You wear that badge once you're a felon. Was just wouldn't let up. He's like, I hope you don't raise your kids. Well, let me tell you how I raise my kids.
Exactly. And my kids make more than you make
say,
right
yes,
now.
ma'am. Yes, sir. They hold the door open at every convenience store. They're not stabbing people at the gas pumps.
Right.
This man here, I stop on the side of the road, help every tire change. That's who I am. I know who I am.
Right.
So don't sit there and tell me I'm the same as those people. Were my kids. That just like.
Well, listen, it's always those people that want to cast that judgment that have got a lot worse skeletons in their closet.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you that because you've got 24 months.
Right.
You're getting ready to enter the federal prison system December 1st. As bad as it is to have to go to prison, you're going into the Bureau of Prisons at probably the best time you could ever go into it because you actually have great leadership now. You have a wonderful director, Billy Marshall. You have a wonderful, wonderful deputy director, Josh Smith, who is a former convicted felon. And then you have Rick Stover, who is the head of FSA right now and is doing an amazing job. So you should give thanks to President Trump for the First Step Act because that is going to reduce your sentence by roughly 48 to 50%.
Wow. Yeah.
So, you're not going to do the time that the tabloids want to say you're going to do. Right. You're going to go in. Yes, you're going to be away from your family for a minute, but you're going to come out. And do you know where you're going yet?
Yankton, South Dakota.
Yankton, South Dakota. So that's a smaller camp there. You're going to be fine. No one's going to be bothering you. And you're going to meet some great guys. You're going to meet some great guys. And let me tell you something. You grew up with no money. You made your money.
Right.
You're going to meet a lot of people, a lot of men that came from money, that are being humbled. You're going to meet a lot of men that came from mine and your background, that had to fight to get where they are.
Right.
You will see that they're your fighters.
Yeah.
They're the ones that will not let the system break you.
Well, I will never be a victim, and I say that to everybody. They're not going to make me a victim.
No.
And I don't know any way but to move forward. And, I raised 4 lions, not 4 sheep.
That's
My
it.
boys will be fine. They will continue the grind. I have all the banks that I still have. They're still doing business with us. I think that would speak volumes about they understand. If someone committed fraud, they wouldn't do business with them.
Do you know that we had a banker that testified and they said, would you do business with Mr. Chrisley again? And he said, yes.
Yeah, I love it.
And so, you know who your people are.
You do.
This is, rather than look at this as a negative, look at this as God shedding light on your life in areas where there was darkness. Because this is going to vet out, Steve, people this is your culling season. It's going to cull out people that's in your life that shouldn't be there and make room and space for those that should be.
That's already happened. That's already starting to progress into that. And it is a good feeling. And at the end of the day, God gives us challenges. We take the good every day from God.
That's
and we
right.
have so much of it to be just living in this country. Our children, the blessings are just astronomical.
That's right.
So we got to take the bad and the challenges. You look at Job.
That's right.
And what he went through.
That's right.
Could we keep our faith? This is
nothing compared to what he went through with.
Yeah, and the advice you've given me, and you've been, making new friends like that in life that'll be friends for the rest of my life. It's been a big deal.
Well, I was able to, your son Stephen was on Savannah's podcast,
Yes.
Unlocked, and I was able to meet them for lunch while he was here, and such a wonderful young man. Such a wonderful young man. Very polite, very courteous, very cordial, and a young man that loves his daddy and has respect for him.
Well, thank you.
And so you've raised him right, but you've raised your other sons right. And I saw the hurt in him sitting at that table.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at him and saying, your daddy's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And you're going to be fine. I said, because God could have stopped this if he had wanted to.
That's right.
But God felt for your situation and for mine that there was lessons to be learned. There were people that we needed to touch. So I would encourage you, Steve, when you go in, to touch as many lives as you can, to be as much of a light for those who don't have a light, to make sure that you help people build themselves up every day. And, since I have come home, May the 28th, I have brought home 68 men, either into home confinement or to halfway house, through the assistance of President Trump's First Step Act and Rick Stover implementing it the way that it should have been implemented under the Biden administration. And this is not a blue and red topic, folks. It's not. It's about whether the administration did what they were supposed to do. President Trump passed the First Step Act to help incarcerated individuals. Biden did not want to give Trump credit for that or to let it show that it was working. So they didn't push it. They did nothing with it. And therefore, it resulted in so many families continuing to be torn apart, separated, when they could have been at home being reunited. And right now, just since President Trump has taken office, the numbers of men and women that should have already been gone home under the First Step Act right now, the halfway houses, our numbers have gone up to about another 2,200, 2,800 men and women that are going into those halfway houses. Now, keep in mind, under President Trump, the money was placed there for the Bureau of Prisons to expand their halfway house program, to acquire more beds so that people could get out of prison and get back into society. The Deputy Director, Josh Smith, just released yesterday, hundreds of millions of dollars is missing and was never used to fund those halfway houses.
That was allocated
for that. Now, where are those people today that misallocated those funds? Those federal workers. Why are they not going in front of a federal judge being charged for stealing or misappropriating federal funds? If the law should be one for all.
Yeah, blind justice. Every courthouse has Lady Justice out front.
That's right.
We need to get back. I mean, the truth is easy. It's always on the tip of your tongue. You know the truth. I could tell my story to anybody. I know, because it's the truth.
That's right.
You know it. You know what the details are. And it's just, you get in there and it's just like, so you don't even get that. I don't even think, we had one of the prosecutor, they were like, well, they planted the outsides of the fields first. They're like, that's called the headlands. Every farmer in America does that. We were trying to hide.
And this prosecutor that's saying this shit probably doesn't know corn from kale.
He doesn't know anything about agriculture. How can you prosecute? That's what I'm saying. It's absolutely based on, that's Steve McBee or Stephen McBee that was on Joe Millionaire, and we're going to get our clickbait all over.
That's right.
I mean, that if every farmer knew out there, hey, and then, I could go on. I won't ramble on about the details of the case, but the fact of the matter that they don't understand agriculture by the statements they were making about you're selling weight, a bushel of grain. If you're 1 bushel off on 2 million bushel, it's mind-numbing to me. If I could do anything when I get out, it's find a conduit or pathway forward that I could help the agriculture world understand, because the crop insurance program is a mousetrap.
That's right.
They're putting they're starving farmers out, and then but with us, we understood that. That's what's so amazing. They found anything wrong. We knew we were we wear a bullseye right here, like you do. That you do. I mean, once you've been out there and exposed, everybody wants the clickbait.
That's right.
But the farmers that are really, they need that and they're struggling, they almost set them up on how that is done. I would love to be involved in re-engineering that program,
the whole process
that works.
Right.
Because they keep getting people that don't know truly from the farmer's world and base what's happening and how it's happening.
And here's the problem with placing men like yourself, myself, and many other men for these white-collar crimes. For the most part, these men are highly intelligent. You're going to see that. They didn't get where they are today by being stupid. And for the most part, these men and women that are being sent to prison for this kind of stuff are more intelligent than the people that are prosecuting them. And you got to be careful with that, because what you do is you create an army of people that have been mistreated, that have received a raw end of the deal when there was no justice in their deal. And then they come out And then they, in their mind, are like, I want to evoke change. I want to prevent this from happening to someone else. And that's what I've done with the Bureau of Prisons.
I've been watching your podcast. You're doing an excellent job. The change you're doing is real. And then
it's crazy, but I take no credit for that, because I know that God, I give all the glory to God, because I know that God chose me. And that's where I get my blessing from, that God chose me to go into the belly of the beast. He placed me in a position to where I would not be comfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, that is your greatest growth period.
100%.
And I grew a lot, and I have made friends with men that our lives would have never crossed, our paths would have never crossed. And former drug dealers, heads of cartel, Fortune 500, presidents of Fortune 500 companies, CEOs. My friend group is so diverse now, and I feel my life is so much richer for it. And I hope you will come out and feel that exact same way. But what I would say to you is that you're a strong man. I've had a lot of conversations with you. Folks, never one time have I seen this man break down. You have held it together. And I know that there is those moments that you struggle, and if you tell me that there's not, you're bullshitting. There are those moments when you're by yourself and you think about, is this the last day that I'm going to get to be with Stephen?
Right.
Or is this the last time I'm going to have lunch with Cole? That has to eat at you. And what toll has it taken on the boys emotionally with all of this?
Oh, I think, we try to hide that a lot. I say that I have a lot of sayings. Some of them I coined, some of them I didn't. But one of them was Ike, and he said, in front of the troops, you always be optimistic. You save all your pessimistic thoughts for your pillow.
That's right.
I live like that.
Right.
When I talk to my boys or talk to any of my managers or team, which we are, we're fine. You're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. So I can tell, it's becoming a reality. I mean, today's, Thursday. So I'm like 9 days from, or 10 days from being there, and it's coming quickly. And, but I think it's hardest. I have 2 granddaughters. That's the hardest for me. Mm-hmm. That I can't think about them at all.
Right.
That hurts.
Mm-hmm. I get it. You're going to be home sooner than you think.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm here to help you any way that I can, and will help you and will help your boys any way that I can. When it comes to the Bureau of Prisons, what I can offer you is the advice that I've given you. I can tell you that you're dealing with an administration now. You're going to have some ass clowns that are staff members. You're going to have, for the most part, before I even get there. I mean, I've had zero good things to say about case managers, because they have been allowed to put it on cruise control, from Obama to Biden, and nothing was done. So they don't even show up for the job half the time. But the good news is that you're coming in under an administration now that is said no more. These men and women are here because they're being punished. Their punishment is being here away from their families. It is not your job to punish them.
Right.
The punishment is them being separated from those they love. So I can tell you that under Billy Marshall, under Josh Smith, if you ever have a problem, you add me to your call list when you get there. You call me, and I will shout it from the rooftops, and it will be taken care of, because I'm not going to have anyone mistreated or abused on my watch.
Wow.
So I give you my word, not just as your friend, but as a fellow comrade who has gone through the trenches.
Yeah.
So, I have been pardoned. President Trump gave us a pardon that I think there's only been a little over 250 kinds of this specific pardon that we have, that washed away everything. But I will always in my heart be a felon and an inmate, because all of my friends that I went through the war with do not have the blessing that I have with President Trump.
Understood.
So your judge said you'll always be a felon and you'll always be an asshole.
Yeah. Always wear that badge.
So wear your badge proudly.
Yeah.
Wear your badge as if you went to war, because that's what you're getting ready to do. When I say you're going to war, not physically, but mentally and emotionally, you're going to war.
Right.
You're leaving your home where you have all your luxury creature comforts. You're leaving those that you love. You are leaving relationships behind that you have right now, and you hope they survive until you get back.
Right.
A lot of people's don't. You're not gone long enough for that to matter.
Right.
But just know that you're going to be there with people that have fought a much harder battle than what you will ever fight.
I count my blessings because the glass is always half full with me. And I believe that. And whatever God chose for me to do this, I will do it. I take the good and bad from God.
Right.
He gives both, and the challenges to make us stronger. This is just, iron sharpens iron, and I'm just getting sharpened right now.
That's right.
And so I'm going to look at it that way. I mean, it's going to be different. I mean, obviously I wouldn't have chose this. No one would.
No.
But here it is. I will deal with it. I will be stronger for it.
That's right.
I will come out and hopefully, make everybody stronger around me, because I always like everybody around me to do. I mean, I don't want to be the only one doing good.
That's right.
I want everyone to do good and to be in good spirits, have the good life. And that's
right.
I try to make everybody's life around me better.
Well, you've made our life better, because we're blessed. We're better for knowing you and for knowing your son, Stephen. He's the only one that I've met, but we're certainly better for knowing you too. And we're certainly better for recognizing the character that you carry every day. And the Chrisleys, love the McBees.
Well,
and I am grateful and blessed to have had you here today. I know this next week is going to be heavy. I've been there. But I'm going to lift you up in prayer, just as I do your family every day. I'm going to cover you guys in prayer every day, and you'll have me on your call list.
Absolutely.
You and I will talk every week. I'll email you, and they'll read your emails, because once you say that you put Todd Chrisley's name on there, those staff members are going to be watching it, because they want to make sure you're not telling me that they're not doing their job.
I can use you as a heavy, huh? I don't like to name drop, but I may name
listen,
drop.
if it gets you commissary, use my name.
Name drop a little. All right.
But it's just that they're set up that way. The entire BOP now knows that I'm coming to correct the injustices that are occurring. And through Josh Smith, who is out in these prisons every day, he's seeing the things that I'm reporting, he's verifying them, and he's cleaning them up. So I'm just saying to you, you and I, you're going in as my friend, you're coming out as my friend, and as your friend, it is my job to make sure that you're okay.
Well,
so even though you're there and I'm here, I will still be making sure that you're okay.
No, I appreciate that more than words can express.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so
God
much.
bless you.
Yep. God bless you. Thank you.